I don't know anybody like this. I mean, I know people like Lance, me. So about a day or two in, Robin goes, "Oh, I'm playing you," and I was like, "Yeah," and a little bit of himself also. But for me, it's about Lance is writing for the wrong reasons, and I can relate to that. I was trucking along, writing screenplays, trying to change the way people perceive me and all that stuff, and he wasn't writing for the right reasons, and that's truly just to create. It's kind of a satire. He's thinking about being rich and meeting women. It's not really satire. That's what I was doing also. But he.
What's so wrong?
Yeah, what's so weird? But so at the end of the movie, I didn't. That's why you don't really hear too much of what he's writing. I didn't want it to really be. I do believe that it is working for people and that it is probably valid. But I needed our hero to the real freedom is when you actually do try to create for solely that reason. To me, one of the villains in the movie was the lack of imagination, and I'd much rather have a son or a child that was a drug addict than a kid without an imagination, because someone could recover from being an addict, but the lack of imagination, then they'll never snap out of.
People said, "Why did you do this movie?" Because I said I read it and went, "It's really interesting." And a lot of times when I've done movies that have really tanked, it's been for the other reason. This will make a lot of money. Really, we'll talk. But it's that idea of, when you do something and you really go, let's just do it. I mean, and that's what this movie's been for me. I read it initially going, well, if you need me to play a small part and help you get it made, then I went, wait a minute, no, this is a really interesting character.
Yeah, I didn't know that. He read it because I didn't know that until I found out yesterday that he was going to help me out and do a solid and play a small role, and that would help.
And in the end,
I'm
going, no, actually, you're helping me.
Well, that's
After Bicentennial Man, I'm going, thank you, brother.
Clearly, if I was writing a movie for Robin, I wouldn't have written a movie where it was a poetry teacher. I think he tackled that fairly well. The bad thing about me is sometimes for actors, like somebody will be crying or there's some really heavy scene, and I'm always pretty comfortable. I think I can guess when something's funny, but when I see something that's happening on camera that I'm going, oh wow, I'm making a movie where it seems like a real person, I'll be clapping. So here's Robin,
And he's getting excited.
in a fetal position crying, and I'm like, oh, this is good, all smiling and clapping.
But I felt safe enough to do that with him because it was like I said to him afterwards, I said, I think I've just had the closest thing to a nervous breakdown on film. And he went, yeah, can you do it again?
And I said, that was really good, yeah.
Yeah, and it was kind of comfortable on that level of knowing I could do it, and I'm with a friend who I trust, not just because he's a friend, but also because I know he's a good filmmaker, that he will use it. And he literally said, can you just move a little bit to here? And I went, oh, then I mean, it's actually on camera. Oh, cool. So
that's the funniest thing about what an awesome actor he is. Like, there's that one scene where he's having this big breakdown and he hits the floor, and I go, that was really good. If you can move 6 more inches, it would be really great for lighting. And he did it the next take, and I was like, all right, moving on.
I've been watching a lot of documentaries, and you see those things where you realize some of the most powerful responses are nonverbal and also so silent that are almost like munch. I mean, way beyond the scream of just that idea of the registry of it is so painful. And I thought,
Well, we kind of, like, when he discovers the body.
Yeah, we did it first, doing it even outside without even seeing the boy. You're going,
yeah,
something's off.
And we were going, no, you wouldn't rush in. And so I think it was Robin came up with the idea. He actually steps back first, which I thought was kind of interesting. And then, without sounding too pretentious, the idea in that scene is I really kind of wanted to, everything's kind of Robin's character's POV up until then, and then I kind of just wanted all of us to step back, and that's why it's shot the way it is, and that's why it does go silent and stuff. It's just, because I knew that, I'm not making fun of these people, even when they do things that aren't that awesome, even the people that are supposed to be villains and stuff in the screenplays I've been writing. I kind of care about them, even though this is a satire. You can tell about the people I don't care about. They're not really full-fledged characters, and I do know that. Like, the kids in this movie is really, it's a satire, and it's, after my girlfriend read it, she goes, this is like Heather's, and I go, oh, okay, so I named the kid Heather. I just thought I'd run right into someone said, this is a little bit like Rushmore. I go, well, okay, this is Principal Anderson then.
And here's a wonderful thing a friend of ours said last night, and I don't he said amazing that this kid was so nasty, and he thought, how are you going to make him redeeming? And then all of a sudden he said, you didn't, you just killed him. and he's so fearless, and it takes a lot to do that, to be so nasty and to go, well, I should be likable at one point. There's nothing about him. I mean, he's a kid, and a lot of kids go, yeah, maybe.
He has more common sense at 15 when he came in than I did as an actor. Like he knew that, he needs to, he was in those Spy Kids movies, and he wanted to intentionally play a role far, far away from that. And I never seen Spy Kids, so it would be creepy. I'm a middle-aged dude if I was watching Spy Kids. But he...
just with friends.
He just came in and he lied. He was supposed to play the sweet boy. And I go, oh, so you're here for Andrew? He goes, no. And so he kind of was in persona.
I love the fact you had the second meeting not as an audition, but just to find out that he wasn't really a prick.
Yeah, I really did think. I go,
and you didn't want to be doing a movie for like 5 weeks of intense work going, he really is an asshole. The weird thing is, for Bob and I both, and this movie, if it does well, God willing, but the idea that we have to go back on the road for 2 reasons. One, it's great for the mind and the soul, but also really, I got to pay for stuff.
Yeah, it's
like Michael Caine said, when the critics pay my bills, I'll basically listen to everything they say.
Well, I go out and do the Alimony tour, and I do it.
I'm kind of in that school too, but,
but
I'm not allowed to say that.
I'm 47 years old, and about 5 or 6 years ago, I just said, you know what, I'm going to say no. I'm not. I just want to do things that make me happy, and if I have to do stand-up so I can keep making these tiny, really personal movies, I will. And if I keep making movies, I'm just going to keep. I know I sound like Dirk Diggler right now. You keep watching, I'm going to keep rocking and rolling. But I've already sold out. My whole career, the beginning of my career is what happens to people when their careers are ending. You know what I mean? Like the body of work was the kind of shit you take. Pardon me. It's the kind of stuff you take when your career's over. That's what I was doing in my early 20s. So now I truly don't. I know I won't sell out. I just want to keep making small movies.
My object is to, but if this movie works, is to get him. If it gives him more credit to get the next movie made, because he's got more great ideas. I mean, I've read them, and I'm not going. Not that I'm going to be every one of them. Bob and I, we have a series. It's like Cassavetes. I'm going to be Peter Falk.
That wasn't.
Let me ask you something.
But he did say that. I said something when we're making. He goes, I want to be in all your movies, And I was like, that's
not just your alcoholic clown movies.
Yeah.
You do appreciate the idea of going. And what do you want to do? You want to work on things where I'm going to work on stuff that will be interesting, and with people that I enjoy being with, because life is short, and to be hustling and doing all that other stuff is like. Wow, man! What did you spend your time doing? And now it's like you realize your window is a little bit shorter than you thought it was. Once you have the surgery, because you come out the other side going, yeah, it's you 2.0. And what are you going to do now? I think I want to do interesting things, and not just smell the roses, but all the flowers. and the idea of, yeah, man, I'm doing this movie was a gift, and it was before the surgery, and working after the surgery. The stand-up for me it pays the bills. But with what's going on right now, every day in America, it's a gift.